What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be aura farming in the Open Great League as I use 3 Pokemon with aura related charge moves in Hisuian, Decidueye and Lucario, both running Aura Sphere, as well as Morpeko, which is obviously running Aura Wheel. Now I will be honest, this team was incredibly frustrating to run. It's double weak to Fire, Fairy, Fighting and Ground, which are all relatively common typings in the meta, so whatever order I run this team in, there's going to be Pokemon that easily core break both the lead and at least one of the 2 Pokemon in the back. I honestly thought about scrapping the video idea entirely at one point until I met one opponent that was running the coolest team I've seen all season long, and I'm hoping if they see this video that they'll be keen to submit some battles to the channel in the future with the exact same team. Also, I want to say apologies for the lack of videos recently. I've still had a few creative team ideas, I just haven't been able to build a lot of the Pokemon that I want to showcase because I ran out of charge TMs recently, and despite the fact that I do a Mega or a Tier 3 raid pretty much every single day for the guaranteed charge TMs, I'm just not able to obtain them as quickly as I'm using them, and it has led to me feeling a lot less inspired to make content. We've obviously also got a Team Rocket event coming up very soon, so I'm going to have to start saving up my TMs for that, so unfortunately I just don't think I'll be able to maintain my usual 5 to 6 videos per week, at least up until after the Team Rocket event. Now, speaking of making less videos, you might be wondering where this week's subscriber challenge video is, and unfortunately there were only 4 entries this week, which is obviously nowhere near enough for me to make a video out of, and it's definitely disappointing after last week's challenge received the most submissions in the series. This week's challenge has now received the least, and in my opinion, the Beat the Algorithm challenge is the most accessible challenge that I've created so far. You don't have to run a specific team, you don't have to play in an unorthodox manner like you would for other challenges that have forced you to play in a very strange way. You can simply run whatever team you usually run in the Go Battle League and fight back against a hard counter team. Now, I don't know if people thought the scoring system was too complicated, or if they weren't happy with the Elo multiplier that I implemented this week, or if that most of you are just unable to fight back against hard counter teams, so please let me know why it is that you didn't participate in this week's subscriber challenge in the comment section down below, especially if you are someone that regularly competes in the previous challenges, as I do want to know if it's worth postponing the video or if I should just scrap it because there's just no interest whatsoever. Now, I know this intro has already been way too long, but one final thing I want to do before we get into the question of the day is give a quick shout out to both Colin L and Giorgio Ardito for the donations and gifted memberships in my recent live stream. It's been a while since I've streamed, so I'm very grateful for the support, but anyways, with that being said, let's finally get into the question of the day. It's definitely a cringy question of the day, but it's a cringy video idea, so I want to know what Pokemon you think has the most aura. Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. I'm heading into the first battle, going up against 0star97, and this is the team I was talking about, leading into an XL Frigibax with the Best Buddy ribbon. The opponent is also choosing to stay in here, and you're going to see why in just a moment as they come in with an Arctibax, and given that we've just seen the Frigibax and the Arctibax, it's pretty obvious they've got a Baxcalibur in the back, and that is such a cool theme team. You guys know I love running full evolution lines in the Go Battle League, and this is one that I'd love to run, but I just don't have enough XL candies for the Frigibax. So if you are the trainer in this battle and you're watching this, please reach out to me. Let me know if you want to submit some battles. I would love to showcase them on the channel. But anyways, we're able to get the resisted, magically farmed down. Just going to go for a Trailblaze here as it is in range for Trailblaze to get the KO. We're going to bank the charge move, and it is the Baxcalibur in the back. We come in with the Morpeko. I'm going straight for Aura Wheel here. Aura Wheel is resisted damage, but it does huge damage there. And at this point, I can just safely shield this up. The opponent will not be able to farm me down and come out with another charge attack loaded, so now I can fire off the Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent. Of course, they can now Dragon Breath farm me down, but we can come back in with Decidueye, fire off the Trailblaze, and of course, from this range with the debuff, Trailblaze gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. But GG's to opponent there. Very, very cool team. Into the next battle, we're going to see a Bastiodon, so this is a great lead matchup for me. The opponent is going to actually swap out into a Azumarill, so Decidueye core breaking this team here. That is huge for me. I'm going to fire off the Trailblaze there. Trailblaze does some decent damage. It boosts up my attack. I can just safely shield once and then go for a full Magically farm down. The opponent fires off the Ice Beam. We go for the farm down, and we get the farm down, but the opponent comes in with a Shadow Jumpluff. Now, Jumpluff, a complete wall to Decidueye, but we're boosted. Aura Sphere does big damage, and I'm able to reach another Aura Sphere as the opponent may be looking to overfarm in this matchup. Aura Sphere is no shielded once again. The opponent probably thinking by the time we get rid of the Decidueye, Bastiodon should be safe, but that is unfortunately not the case. I come in with Morpeko just to sponge the damage here, and then I will swap instantly into Lucario. The opponent sees Lucario. They see the writing on the wall. Shout out to Homesize Henry for that quote, and they concede the match. So, GG's up on there. Into next battle, we see a Golisopod in the lead. Now, this is a tricky matchup for me because I don't know if they're on Aerial Ace. If they are, of course, Aerial Ace is double super effective. So I shield, and it is just an X-Scissor. So at this point, I'm going to fire off the Trailblaze here. Trailblaze is going to be shielded by the opponent. And this one, I'm thinking maybe I can live an X-Scissor from this range. Decidueye, not very bulky, but we do tank it, and I'm able to reach a second Trailblaze. I'm already boosted. Trailblaze will be enough damage to take out Golisopod, and they come in with a Digger Speed. Now, of course, I am double weak to ground in the back, but I am resisting the fast move damage. At this point, I think I'm going to no shield. It's just a Fire Punch, and Fire Punch, it is super effective, but I'm able to tank it, but I have no clue why I'm over farming here. I'm thinking maybe they're double weak to fighting in the back, but they've got a Grumpig in the back. If I just threw my move straight away, possibly could have won that game there, but I threw it away there by over-farming too much. But GG's to the opponent there. Into next battle, we see a Primeape in the lead. Now, Primeape, really awkward, especially if they shield my first charge move. Since they didn't farm up to the close combat there, I'm not going to bother shielding the first move, but if they do shield this, it's pretty much just game over. But they let that go through. Trailblaze gets the KO. I'm going to swap into Morpeko, wait for the opponent to try and swap and make a catch there as they swap into a Shadow Swampert. Now, of course, I'm so far ahead on energy. I go for Psychic Fangs. Morpeko does have access to Seed Bomb, and I possibly would have run it actually for the coverage. However, I do have no charge DMs whatsoever, so I'm stuck with the typical moveset for the Morpeko. Either way, doesn't matter. I grab a shield from the opponent. At this point, gonna let the Morpeko go down. Gonna come back in with the Decidueye, and these Magical Leaves are seriously chunking. I'm definitely just gonna shield. I'm gonna swap out straight away into Lucario, and the opponent over farms so much here. At this point, it's gonna be game over as I can just safely shield my Lucario. They do make it to back-to-back charge moves, but they're definitely in range where one Magical Leaf will get the farm down. I'm able to tank a Shallow Claw, so I'm able to take out for Alligator, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there. Into next battle, we see Credilli in the lead, so this is a great matchup for me, and also Lucario is going to completely wall the energy as well as the Decidueye, so it doesn't really matter too much if maybe I grab a shield advantage here, but the opponent does really fight hard for switch advantage. However, if the opponent is double weak to Decidueye, which they're staying in, they might be double weak to it. That might be a problem for me if I do just let it go down here. So I let the move go through, I swap into Lucario, and they swap into Golisopod at the same time. So of course, if I came in with Morpeko here, this would be a great matchup for me, but unfortunately Lucario, whilst we do have coverage in Thunder Punch, isn't the best matchup for me. So here, I've used the shield, we fire off the Thunder Punch, it gets the KO, but they've got Claydol in the back, so that is why they were staying in with Credilli, of course, double weak to the Decidueye, and at this point, I'm only able to reach a Thunder Punch before they fully farm me down. We can come in, fire off the Trailblaze, Trailblaze grabs the final shield, and unless the opponent swaps back into Credilli and doesn't throw a charge move, there's just no way I can win this game at this point. The opponent does swap back into Credilli, but yeah, I have to go for the Psychic Fangs here. Psychic Fangs, not going to do much damage. The opponent will actually outpace me to the next charge. If they go for Rock Tomb, I might just barely live this. But the opponent goes for Grass Knot. It gets the KO there. I'm not able to farm them down with the Decidueye, and unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG's up on there. Into the next battle, we see Decidueye into Toxapex. So I'm going to swap straight away into Lucario. The opponent responds with a Party Hat Shiny Blastoise, which is a very questionable response here. Of course, I'm double resisting rollouts. We go for Thunder Punch. Thunder Punch does big damage. They don't even throw a charge move, and then the opponent just concedes the match there. Honestly, I've got no clue what the heck just happened there. I think the opponent honestly just got lost in Lucario's aura there and we're able to win. But into the next battle, and another core breaker to the team. I have to just stay in here. There's just not a lot we can do. We fire off the Trailblaze. Trailblaze obviously grabs a shield there. The opponent probably recognizing I am weak to Charm. Otherwise, I would have swapped out. I'm now going to come in with my Morpeko here, and they just come in with Gastrodon, and it's literally game over. I'm going to reveal my Lucario, then I'm going to concede the match. GG's. What was even the point in that battle? Into the next battle, and we see a Mud Slapper, this time in the lead, so definitely much better for me. I'm going to say swap into Lucario, and I swear, like, it's either just like hard counter the opponent or get hard countered. There's no in between with this team here. So we're going to come in with Lucario, shield once, go for a full farm down, and then I make a bit of a mistake here. I'm used to running close combat, and of course, you can farm up to back-to-back close combats with Lucario, but Aura Sphere is, I believe, 55 energy, so I'll go over 100 energy. I only get off one charge move. Maybe could have baited with a Thunder Punch and got off the Aura Sphere, but either way, I'm still going to come in with the Decidueye, fire off the Trailblaze straight away. Trailblaze gets the KO there. They've got more Morpeko in the back. I swap into my own Morpeko. They will throw the charge move straight away, of course. Gonna no-shield the first move here as they go for the Aura Wheel. That does big damage, but it doesn't quite put me into Thundershock farm down range before I reach back-to-back charge moves. The opponent also no-shields that first move there, and at this point they realize there's nothing they can do, and so they just concede the match. So, GG's up on there into next battle. See a Primate in the lead. So, of course, we've already seen one in the lead. The last time, they did actually just no-shield the first charge move, and it was fairly comfortable for me. But let's see if the opponent does the same thing this time around. They go straight for the Rage Fist. So, once again, I no-shield that. But you can see, we're getting fairly low already. Trailblaze grabs a shield, and at this point, I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here. They do throw straight away, so I will let that go through. Lucario does have some fast move pressure, but look at those karate chops. They are absolutely chunking Lucario, and they're going to boost their attack once again. We do get the farm down, but we are only coming out with like 1 or 2 HP, and they've got Clodsire in the back. There's just nothing I can do at this point, so I'm going to fire off the Psychic Fangs here. I'm going to fight as hard as I can, but it is going to be game over. At this point, I have to just no-shield this. The opponent is going to go for the Stone Age bait. It doesn't really matter. It still does huge damage. They can just Poison Sting farm me down, and one more Poison Sting, despite being double resisted, takes out Lucario, and unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG to that opponent there into next battle. Great lead for me. The opponent safe swaps into a Sableye, and I'm going to respond with my Morpeko. And the opponent just goes straight for a foul play here, which is absolutely fine with me. I can now overfarm. I'm going to farm up to very close to back-to-back charge moves. Throw on CMP. Aura Wheel gets the KO there. And the opponent's going to come back in with their Blastoise immediately, which is definitely fine with me. I can go straight for Psychic Fangs here. I'm already boosted, so I grab a shield from the opponent. And now I'm 1 away from the next Aura Wheel, so I will throw on good timing. Aura Wheel should be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and things are looking pretty good for me. However, if the opponent has something like a fire type in the back, then this still could be very difficult for my team. I'm definitely just going to shield here. The opponent's going to go for the Skull Bash, full sending it, and they've got Clodsire, which is actually very difficult for the entire team to deal with. However, with an energy advantage and a shield advantage, I think this Decidueye should be okay in this matchup. I'm definitely going to shield. They are on Sludge Bomb, so faster to reach the charge moves, and of course, if they're on Stone Edge and Earthquake, both would be resisted by the Decidueye. But either way, Trailblaze does big damage. It puts them into 1 Magical Leaf farm down range, and the opponent just concedes the match. So, GG's up on there into next battle. See a Shadow Skuntank in the lead. So, I'm going to swap into my Morpeko, and the opponent responds with a Charm, Shadow, Alola, Ninetales. So, it's not looking good for me. Honestly, maybe should have baited with the Psychic Fangs here, expecting to grab a shield. But at this point, obviously, just going to let the Morpeko go down there. We've grabbed the shield advantage. I'm going to come back in with Decidueye. I'm hoping I can at least reach a charge move before they fully charm farm me down, but that is not the case there. The opponent realizing as well, if they don't throw a move, they can deal more damage with the charms. And that's absolutely game over. They come in with Shadow Dragonair, Dragon Breath, farm down Lucario, and unfortunately, just nothing I can do there. GG's to that trainer into the next battle. We see Azumarill in the lead, so definitely much better for me. I'm going to stay in this matchup. The opponent then swaps into a Sableye. So at this point, I'm going to fire off the Trailblaze here. Of course, Trailblaze not going to do too much damage, but it does grab a shield from the opponent. I could swap out into Morpeko, but I realize, of course, Morpeko's still going to be fine up against the Azumarill, so I'm happy to stay in here initially. Fire off another Trailblaze. Trailblaze number 2 is going to be shielded by the Sableye. And at this point, am I going to shield this? Nope, I'm going to let it go down. The opponent actually baits with another foul play, so it doesn't quite get the full farm down there. Or sorry, it doesn't quite get the KO, so they get the farm down. I'm going to come in with the Morpeko. I'm going to use a shield as they do bait with another foul play, but I do get a very nice farm down. Now the opponent comes in with an Alola Marowak, so I'm going to go for the Aura Wheel. I've got so much energy. Remember, Azumarill did bank, I think, 3 bubbles worth of energy before swapping out, so I do have to be careful of that. Then now I'm going to come back in with the Azu. I go for the Psychic Fangs there, and honestly, I probably should have swapped out into my Lucario at this one because I need Morpeko with energy to beat the Marowak. At this point, Aura Wheel gets the KO there, but if they go straight for Bone Club, it's going to be game over, so I do swap. I'm able to make the catch onto Lucario, but it doesn't really help me because now they've just put me into perfect farm down range to come out with another Bone Club. And unfortunately, despite doing fairly well there, making the catch, there's just nothing I can do at this point, and so I do end up losing that game. But GG's up on there into the next battle. See a Talonflame in the lead. Awful lead matchup for me, but the opponent actually swaps out there to my counter Lucario swap there. So of course, we are now going to come in and we are going to shield. I did want to throw on alignment. The opponent did just throw on alignment. I'm hoping the opponent does just shield here, but they are going to let that go through. So I go for the undercharge. It doesn't really make a difference here. I'm only going to reach one Thunder Punch up against the Talonflame anyways, but I have flip switch advantage. I've grabbed the shield back from the opponent, and now I can, of course, come in with my Morpeko. So definitely gonna shield this as the opponent does go for the Flame Charge, and their final Pokemon is revealed to be a Charge Bug. So at this point, I'm gonna farm up here to a Psychic Fangs and an Aura Wheel, but I will be swapping out straight away as the opponent can go straight for the X-Scissor. Of course, this is gonna take neutral damage from the X-Scissor. We are resisting the Volt Switch damage, but another X-Scissor will put us into KO range. So at this point, X-Scissor does get the KO. We've obviously got all shields down on the opponent's end now, so I'm gonna overfarm as much as I can. Fire off the Psychic Fangs first. Psychic Fangs gonna drop the defense. I can now fire off the Aura Wheel, and from this range it will definitely get the KO, but it just depends. Does Talonflame, are they 2 away from a charge move, or is it just 1? And it turns out they are 2 fast moves away, so I can of course go straight for Aura Wheel. Aura Wheel gets the KO there, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's up on there. Into next battle, see Decidueye into Poliwrath. So this is a positive matchup for me, but the opponent's going to safe swap into Clodsire and have literally no response whatsoever. So at this point, I'm definitely going to shield this. The opponent goes straight for a Sludge Bomb, so unfortunate they're also on Sludge Bomb and not Stone Edge. But either way, I'm going to fire off the Trailblaze, and then what I will try to do is make a catch onto Lucario, but I'm not able to do so. The opponent holds onto their energy, and now this is really rough for me. I'm going to shield this as they bait with a Sludge Bomb. Oh my gosh, that is really frustrating. We're now going to go for the Thunder Punch here. Thunder Punch will get the KO from that range, but now I'm all shields down. I can reach another Thunder Punch, but clearly they're just going to shield this, and it's going to be game over because both my Pokemon will go down to a single charge move from the Poliwrath. I'm going to wait out my Switch Shock. I'm going to come in with Morpeko, hoping they Blind Throw an Icy Wind. But the opponent full sends Dynamic Punch, and they can come in with their own Morpeko. My only win condition is full sending Aura Sphere and having it no shielded, but the opponent clearly just shields that up there. They can go straight for Psychic Fangs. Psychic Fangs, super effective. It takes out Decidueye, and unfortunately, I do lose that game. But GG's up on there into the final battle of this video, leading into a Clodsire this time around, but they actually swap out of the matchup into a Forest, so that's fine with me. I don't really know why they swapped out of that matchup there, unless maybe they're running an ABB style team, but even so, like, that's such a strange decision. So at this point, I'm going to bank a ton of energy, swap into Lucario, catch the next Swift, and because we get a fast move through as we swap out, I'm able to fully farm them down. Now, of course, Lucario only has resisted charge moves to throw into the Clodsire, which I assume will be coming back in, but that's okay because they're also dealing double resisted fast move damage with those Poison Stings. Aura Sphere does respectable damage given it is resisted, and they will fire for charge move. At this point, I'm actually going to shield this because they full send the Earthquake. Now I'm going to force them to full send another Earthquake. Otherwise, this will not be enough damage to get the KO. It's just a Sludge Bomb. Now I can fire off another Aura Sphere, and this puts them into range where I can farm them down with my Decidueye. However, I expect the opponent will be swapping out straight away. So what I'm actually going to do is come in with the Morpeko, and they do swap out immediately. They come in with Shadow for Alligator, and this game is now wrapped up for me. I can go for the Aura Sphere, of course, because they swapped out, they're 1 turn behind. All I have to do now is fire off a charge move with my Morpeko here. I'm going to shield whatever they throw. They go for the Hydro Cannon, and now I can swap out here after throwing the Psychic Fangs, snipe with my Decidueye, go for the Trailblaze, which we've already got banked. Trailblaze gonna boost up my attack, and it will allow me to fast move, farm down the Clodsire, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.